Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is an awesome episode because we're going to be trying my all-time favorite meal, biscuits and gravy. It's nice to know that if a bad day event happens, my favorite comfort food is sitting in my survival stash. I got 3 different manufacturers' products that we're going to try and sample and see how it tastes. So stick around and I'll see you over at the underground kitchen. All right, guys, the kitchen is open. We're gonna be making some yummy deliciousness here this morning in the form of biscuits and gravy. I got 3 products on hand. We got Mountain House's Biscuits and Gravy, we have Peak Refuel's Biscuits and Gravy, and we have Beyond Outdoor Meals Biscuits and Gravy. Now we're gonna be cooking these up and we're gonna be seeing if these are worth adding to our survival stash. We're gonna be looking at the nutritional value of these products, and we're also gonna be looking at the all-important, how does it taste? Now, the reason we want to try our survival food is we want to make sure that this stuff tastes good. We don't want to wait till a bad day event and find out that the stuff that we purchased is lousy. We don't want to have our kids coming back saying, "Daddy, this food's crummy," or we don't want our spouse saying, "You put all our hard-earned money into that?" So, we want to make sure that what we're buying fits into our collection, fits into our family's needs, and the only way we can do that is by trying what we buy. So, we're gonna rehydrate these, and before we do, let's take a closer look at the products. Up first, we have Mountain House. Mountain House has been around for quite some time, and in this package, it lasts for 25 years. It also has 2 servings per container, and it's got 280 calories per serving for a grand total of 560 calories for the entire container. Up next is Peak Refuel. This has about a 5-year shelf life, and they're about 2 servings per container. Each serving has about 570 calories for a total of 1,100 calories in the entire package. And finally, we have Beyond Outdoor Meals. This has a 10-year shelf life, and there are 2 servings per container. Each serving is 360 calories for a total of 710 calories in the entire package. Now, one of my initial observations is that it seems like the longer the shelf life, the lower amount of calories you're getting with the food. Or to say that a different way, it seems like the shorter the shelf life, you're getting a lot more calories. So that's something you might want to consider when you're trying to decide what products to add to your collection. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this water started here because it takes a little bit of time to get this water boiling. I did go ahead and I read all the instructions, and we're pretty much gonna be adding boiling water to all 3 of these. This is really simple to make. It really doesn't take that much. All right, we're gonna go ahead, and the first product we're gonna make here is the Mountain House Biscuits and Gravy. Now, anytime we go to make survival food, there's a series of tests we wanna do. The first test that we want to do is we want to do a visual inspection. We want to inspect the outside of the package. We want to sit there and make sure there's no holes in it, that no rodents have been chewing into it. We also want to visually inspect the date and make sure that this isn't expired. And then once we do that, we're going to tear open the package and we're going to do a visual inspection down inside it and make sure that it looks the way that we would expect biscuits and gravy to look. And then after that, we're going to do a smell test. That's the second test. I always like to smell the food before I cook it, and then I like to smell it after I cook it, because the last thing we want to do is get botulism. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and I'm going to move these aside, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the biscuits and gravy, and we're going to peek into it and see how it looks. And then we're going to sort of look down into this and take a look. And you can kind of see what it looks like in here. It almost looks like croutons. And there's a oxygen absorber. We're going to take this and toss that to the side. We don't need that. But if you look in here, it kind of gives you an idea of what the biscuits and gravy looks like. And you know what we're going to do here? I'm going to pull out the cutting board. So I'm going to pour some of this out, and you guys can kind of see that this is what the biscuits and gravy looks like. In fact, let me lift it up a little bit closer to the camera and let you take a look. I mean, it really does. It looks like croutons. And when I smell it, there really isn't much of an odor to it. So I think this is safe. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open up the Peak Refuel and take a look at it and see what it looks like inside. And it also has the same perforated mark. And so we're gonna tear this open here. This one tore a lot easier. And we're gonna look in there. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that, folks. They have actual giant size biscuits that are in here. That's really fascinating. Let me get the cutting board here and let's take a look at this. Let me pour some of this out because I find this just a little bit fascinating. Oh, and there is an oxygen absorber way down in the bottom here. So we're going to take that out, toss that to the side, but take a look at this. In fact, let me hold this closer to the camera and let you take a look. They actually have a couple giant biscuits, and they look like biscuits, and it smells actually good. It's got a little bit of a peppery smell to it. So that's pretty fascinating. Whereas the other one had croutons for biscuits, this one has actual biscuits. I gotta tell you, I was not expecting that. That's kind of cool. All right, we're gonna set these aside, and the last one that we have here is we have the Beyond Outdoor Meals. Now, I've been wanting to try Beyond products for a while now, so I'm kind of excited this is my first Beyond product to try. So we're gonna see how well the Beyond is, and it too has actually, that's interesting, it's got two perforated tabs. It has one that's below, let me hold it under here so you can see. It's got one that is above the Ziploc lining and one that's below. So I find that fascinating. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tear the one that's up above first, toss that to the side and open that up. And then there is, we look inside, we have our oxygen absorber. We're gonna toss that to the side. And when you look in here, well, it's not two giant biscuits, but we actually have something that, it's some bigger chunks. So when you look at it, we end up with these bigger chunks right here, and let's take a closer look at that. And you can kind of see how this looks. Now, before we move on, I thought it would be really cool if we took these products and we laid them side by side and took a look to see what's going on. And I'm gonna hold this here under the camera and show it to you. Right here we have Mountain House, here we have the Peak Refuel, and over here we have the Beyond Outdoor Meals. And this kind of shows you what each product looks like before we make it. So I just wanted you to take a look at that. All right, our water is boiling, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with the Mountain House. Now the Mountain House is asking for about 1.5 cups of boiling water, so I'm gonna grab my trusty measurement cup here, and I'm gonna pull the water here off, and we're gonna add about 1.5 cups of water, and I'm gonna kill my oven here, kill the stove, and then let's pour us in about 1.5 cups. There we go. So we got 1.5 cups of boiling water. And all we're gonna do here, folks, is we're just gonna sit there and pour this in. Just like that. We'll sort of swish it around a little. And then we're going to seal this up and we're gonna set this aside. It's got a nice Ziploc pouch on it. And we're gonna zip this up. And then Mountain House wants us to sit this aside. When you look at the instructions here, it says to set it aside for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna stir again. So we'll set that one aside. We'll go ahead and grab the Peak, and the Peak wants 1 1/3 cups of water. So we'll go in here and we'll grab some more water. It uses a little bit less water than the Mountain House, which is interesting. And there we go. This one seems to have a lot more food, but it's wanting like less water. So I find that interesting, but we'll go ahead and pour that in and we'll fill this up. And oh man, I'm getting excited here, folks. And we can look in there and you can kind of see how that one looks. And we'll go ahead and we'll seal this up, and then we'll package this up. And when you read the instructions in the back, it says we need to add 1 1/3 cups of water, and then we're gonna let it stand for about 10 minutes. All right, and then we're gonna do the Beyond outdoor meals here. And for this one, we're only gonna be adding 1 cup of water, which that kind of surprises me. This requires the least amount of water of all 3 of these. And we're gonna pour that in, and we'll go ahead and seal it up. And then we'll line these up here and get ready to stir them. So it's been about 4 minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open up the Mountain House here, and I'm gonna go ahead and stir it. And also give us an opportunity to kind of look inside and see how this is starting to look. So it still looks a little soupy, but I'm gonna mix this up just a little bit. I can tell you it's already smelling pretty good, but we'll stir that up. And then I'm gonna seal this up. We're gonna set this aside for 4 minutes, and then we're gonna look at that. So we're gonna take a quick little break. We're gonna fast forward in time, and when we come back, we'll be ready to pour these out and see this yummy biscuits and gravy. Hey everybody, real quick. If you like the content you're watching, click the like and subscribe button down below. It helps push our content out to other like-minded individuals. And remember, the more people we can push this out to and educate, the less people we're gonna have to help when the bad day event happens. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, we did a little bit of a time jump into the future here. It's now been 10 minutes and all our products are sitting here. They've been soaking up that water and rehydrating themselves. It's time to open them up and take a closer look and see how these turned out. I'm gonna start by opening up the Mountain House since that was the first one. And the instructions pretty much say we wanna open it and give it a good stir. So I'm gonna grab my fork here and I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna stir this up. And the gravy does seem to have thickened quite a bit from when we opened it up here at the 4 minute mark. And it's looking pretty, looks pretty good. So let me get a bowl and we'll pour some of this out. I'm gonna take this out here and dump this in a bowl so we can take a closer look. And slide this under and let me hold this up closer so you guys can take a look. And you can get an idea of this is what the Mountain House biscuits and gravy looks like. I'm gonna grab another bowl and we're gonna look at I'm curious to see how our biscuit turned out with this one because we had that big giant biscuit. So let's open this up and let's take a look. Ooh, that looks pretty good in there. And I'm gonna grab another fork and we're gonna sit there and stir this up just a little bit. And oh man, this looks yummy. And then I'm gonna pour some of this out into a bowl for you guys to see. And let me get that big giant biscuit out so you can see that as well. I'll put that right there. And let me hold this up closer so you guys can take a look. So we'll set this back aside because we're gonna now open up the Beyond product. And we're gonna take a look in here at what it looks like. All right, so we can look in there and we get an idea, and let me get another bowl and another fork, and we're gonna stir this up. This doesn't seem to have as much sauce as the other ones do. Let me put the bowl under here and we'll pour this out. Ooh, that's interesting. Even when I stirred it, we still get a little bit of part of it's not, I don't know, guys. I think this needed a little bit more water than what the instructions said. But we'll stir this up and we'll line up the bowls, and this kind of gives you an idea of what each one looks like here. You know, this is the Mountain House it's very soupy. You know, it's got a lot of liquid in it, but we added the most amount of water to this. The big one, the one that's got me a little nervous, is this giant biscuit still seems like it's hard as a rock. But the rest of it looks nice. I mean, there's a nice soupiness to this. And then this one, I don't know. It seems like it's just a little bit chunkier. And it looks more like oatmeal. I really am wondering if this should have had more water. I wonder if the instructions are wrong, but you can tell when you look at the instructions here, you know, it does say pour 1 cup of boiling water into the pouch, stir lightly, and then seal it up for 10 minutes. And then open the pouch and stir lightly and enjoy. So I'm kind of wondering if this needs more water. All right, guys, the moment is upon us. It is time to try some yummy biscuits and gravy. Now I put all 3 on a plate here, and we're gonna try all 3 of them. And as I go through and I try them, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my initial feedback, and then afterwards I'm gonna come back. I might take a second bite and then give it its score, what I think it is taste-wise and how it compares to the other ones. So I'm really excited about this. So we'll go first, and we'll start with Mountain House. Okay. Not bad, not bad. So I like the fact that it's very creamy. I like the fact that there's a lot of gravy on this. I love that aspect, but to be honest, it kind of surprises me. It's a little bit bland. I feel like it needs a lot of pepper or something to kick it up a little bit, because biscuits and gravy usually has a lot of pepper in it. This is very bland. So that kind of surprises me a little bit. I'm going to try next the Peak Refuel. And I'm not trying the biscuit because the biscuit was like hard as a rock. It's just unedible. So we're doing the actual gravy part. Okay. So this has a little bit of it's almost like a buttery taste to it. This has a lot more flavor than the Mountain House, and it's got a buttery taste. It's almost like a sweet taste to it. So it's a different type of biscuits and gravy. I'm used to a certain type of biscuits and gravy, I guess, but it's pretty tasty. And then last one is the Beyond Outdoor Meals. Wow. The one that I thought was not going to be that good is actually pretty good. The Beyond is pretty tasty. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. After trying these multiple times, I'm ready to give out my scores. For the Mountain House, I'm going to give it a 7. While I like the fact that there's a lot of gravy, the fact is it was pretty bland and it would require a lot of pepper, which bothers me because I might not have pepper available in a survival situation. Now, if you have digestive issues or prefer bland foods, then you definitely want to consider this. Next, for the Peak Refuel, I love the buttery taste and I would give it an 8, but because the biscuits were rock hard and I couldn't eat them, I'm going to knock it down to a 6. And finally, the Beyond Outdoor Meals. This had a really good flavor, and I'm going to give it an 8. All right, that concludes our episode. Now, I know that many of you are thinking, Dennis, what would you do? Well, if I was just getting started off with prepping, I'd probably buy a couple packets of the Beyond Outdoor Meals or the Peak Refuel, mostly because it's a cheaper way to get in, and those have a higher calorie intake. And if I was an experienced prepper, I might add a couple of those as well, because there's going to be days where you're doing hard work and you might need that extra calorie boost. So it's nice to have your favorite comfort food with a little bit more calories. But then after that, I would probably start purchasing Mountain House's number 10 cans that has like a 25-year shelf life, and I'd put those away. Then again, if I was just getting started with prepping, I'd probably buy a couple of these packets myself. And I would try it with my family, because the guy on the YouTube channel might have different tastes than you. Until next time, the kitchen is closed.